how to create a colourful triangular pattern in Photoshop. I'm using 220, could be 219, 218, etc. File and new. Going for 200 by 200. You could use 300 by 300, etc. Go to the rectangular shape tool. Find that in tool panel. Make certain it's shape in the top left and fill to be a grey. Now, once you've done that, fill the entire document with that square or rectangle. Now, you might find it's slightly over the edge, and you can get around that by going to a view and snap to make guides and layers, etc., standard settings. And then once you've done that, go to the move tool and just resize it a bit. So make certain it's all exactly to the size of the document. Go to the direct selection tool found in tool panel and select one of the points there and delete that point, and it will say it was turning it into a regular path. Click yes. Now you've got a triangle. Now you've still got the white background. Well, I'm going to delete that. You can do that via the layers panel. You find that via the window menu. So go to window and layers. It's Offscreen Rip, so I'll just drag it in. And you can see the background there. What I do want to do is delete it. Just delete it. Just go to the cross and press the little delete there. Yes, I want to delete it. Now you've got your triangle completely without any background. What you need to do then is, I'm going to get rid of the layers now, I don't need that. You can now go to the edit menu and you want to define it as a pattern. So edit menu and define pattern. Give it a name. What you can do then is you can rotate that design. You don't have to do this. You can actually rotate it within the pattern script. This is another way of doing it. So you can just rotate it so it's flipped over, and then go to the edit menu and define pattern again. But before you do that, go to the rectangle tool and recolor it. Again, this, you don't have to do this because you can do it all within the actual pattern script as well. That's another option. But I like to keep them separate because you might put different designs in each of those triangles. This, obviously, at this point, is just a plain design. But you don't have to do that. You could actually fill it with something else. It could be a big gradient or some other thing. So go back to a completely fresh document. This one's 1980, etc. And once you've done that, go to create a layer. I like to work on layers because one thing with layers, you can delete them if you don't like the result. So layer and new layer. And then edit and fill. And you're going to fill that triangle onto that layer. Contents, set to pattern. Go and select the first one. And you can see the second one as well, of course, there. And make certain the script is set to brick fill. Always select, deselect and select. Always find that Photoshop, for some weird reason, ignores that sometimes and just runs a regular pattern otherwise. I want brick fill because it's got the colour feature. Click OK. And then you've got your design. Now, pattern scale set to 1, spacing 0, offset 0, and colour randomness can be close to 1, up to you. And brightness randomness set up to 1, again, up to you. And the pattern rotate angle, set that to 0 initially. You can, if you wish, type in 90 and that will flip it for you instead of doing the other pattern. But that's a different way of doing it. Click OK. So now what you've got one layer filled with your first triangles. Now, you could stop at this point. Don't have to add the other triangles. Obviously, you've got that white there. What you can do, you can go and run the other pattern as well now. But before you do that, you can create another layer. So you can go to Layer and New Layer. Click OK. Once you've done that, now run the fill command, but using the other pattern. Don't use the first pattern. Of course, you could use the first pattern and then use the 90 setting for the angle. There's another option. Make certain you select the custom pattern, the second one you created. And then make certain the script is still on. Again, deselect it, select it, up to you. Because sometimes when you run it, like I say, it forgets and it seems to run just the regular pattern. I'm not certain why, but that's what it does do occasionally on my version. Now, the triangle should be the opposite of what you originally created. So you can set the pattern scale. They're all set. It's like 1, 0, 0, 1, 1. But you can see that if you use the pattern rotate angle, you can achieve the same result. That's just an alternative way of doing it. Personally, I prefer to do it with 2 different patterns because I might use slightly different triangles than just a basic fill. So you've got 0 there as well. And then run it. And that will be created on the second layer. Now, the random fill colour is not particularly great. I mean, if you run it again and again, the colour system doesn't totally randomise. I'm not certain why. It would be nice if it did, but it doesn't. But it's because you can see it doesn't, because you've just run it again, and now you can see the yellows and the pinks. Obviously, it's the darker, so it hasn't totally randomised it. Hasn't randomised it at all, particularly, other than it's just done exactly the same as before. Now you've got 2 layers. You can see that via the window and layers panel there. And what you can do, you can always just alter the second layer or the first layer and just go to hue and saturation, just modify the hue. Or maybe use colour lookup, maybe use some of the other adjustments, but that's all via the image menu and adjustments. And then you can see now you've got different colours than what you had before. So all kinds of lovely colourful triangles can be generated using this approach. You can flatten the layers via the layer menu and flatten image. You can also convert them all into a smart object, apply effects, maybe apply transformations, and much, much more. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Please subscribe to the Graphic Extra channel, always adding tutorials about Photoshop, Illustrator and many others. Also, please add some comments, a dislike or like. Thank you much.